Everyone, today I'm sharing something incredibly personal, a journey that completely transformed my body and health. I didn't count a single calorie, Maya. I just ate this every single day. It's not trendy, it's not expensive, and it's definitely not what the fitness world typically pushes. But it helped me drop to 14% body fat fast, and it keeps me at 14% body fat year-round.
Whoa, Dr. Stone, that's a huge claim. 14% body fat without calorie counting just by eating one thing daily? That goes against almost every piece of fitness advice out there.
It does, and that's why it's so powerful. Look, I was once overweight, even obese. For 23 years, I suffered physically and mentally with erectile dysfunction, inflammation, back pain, weight loss resistance, depression, high blood sugar, and high blood pressure. These photos of me in my early 20s show what was considered obese.
That sounds like a really tough period, Dr. Stone. So what was the turning point?
After I applied what I'm about to show you, in just 9 months, I went from 250 pounds to 170 pounds, from 34% body fat to 6% body fat. And then I tested out this approach on thousands of people. And that's what I'm going to share with you right now.
Okay, I'm absolutely hooked. What's the first secret that changed everything?
Let's start right here. This is the food that changed everything. What I started to do was actually eat more fat to lose fat. But, and this is crucial, it had to be the right healthy fats. So many people think fat makes you fat, and that can be true if they're inflammatory fats. But there's a set of anti-inflammatory fats I started eating every day that help my body melt fat.
Anti-inflammatory fats. So healthy fats are actually the key to fat burning.
These fats help me feel full and satisfied. They stabilize my blood sugar and insulin, and they help my body unlock this switch to fat-burning metabolism. Here are the fats I started eating every day, and I continue to eat every day to stay lean year-round. Grass-fed beef and lamb, wild-caught salmon, pasture-raised eggs with the yolk, avocados, half an avocado a day, extra virgin olive oil. I take a shot of that every single day, or sometimes I drizzle it on my avocado with sea salt, and raw organic nuts like pecans, macadamia nuts, and something called pili nuts.
So a variety of whole, unprocessed, healthy fats.
When I was overweight, I feared fat. I bought low-fat everything, fat-free everything, but once I flipped that belief and embraced these healthy fats, my belly fat started to melt away. The same thing will happen to you. Okay, the next thing I did was I had a strategic carbohydrate strategy. I kept my total carbohydrates, and I continue to keep it under 50 total grams of carbs per day on most days, with the exception of Sunday.
50 grams total? That's quite low. Why is that the key?
Because when you lower your carbs, you lower blood sugar and you lower insulin. This is the key. So many people are on ChatGPT, they're on Google searching, how do I lose weight? That's the wrong question. The question should be, how do I lower insulin?
So insulin is the master hormone for fat storage.
When you lower insulin, you unlock fat burning. When you lower insulin, you start melting visceral fat. When you lower insulin, you have amazing energy levels. And carbohydrates will spike glucose and insulin way more than protein and fat. Check out this graph right here. This is a study showing the blood insulin response from carbohydrates, protein, and fat.
Wow, the carbohydrate response is dramatically higher.
Carbohydrates will raise blood insulin higher way more than protein and fat. Protein has a very small response, and fat barely moves the needle on insulin. So by simply capping your total carbohydrates under 50 grams per day, and those carbs coming from non-starchy carbohydrates like green leafy vegetables and low glycemic fruits like blueberries, you're going to lower insulin and burn fat.
But you mentioned an exception for Sunday. This sounds like a refeed day.
You don't have to do this every single day. Here's something I do on Sundays. I flex out and actually have a higher healthy carb day. This works for many reasons. Number one, it mixes things up and your metabolism has to adapt. This is the key to sustainable fat loss. Number two, you don't feel restricted like you can never have carbs for the rest of your life.
So, what kind of carbs are we talking about on this day?
On this day, I have white rice, fruit, sweet potatoes, masa chips, healthy carbohydrates. But here's the key. On a high-carb day, like a Sunday, it's a low-fat day. There's no need to have those fats I mentioned earlier on a high-carb day. You don't want high-carb, high-fat. So I actually cap my total fat at 50 grams or less, and I consume 150 grams of carbs on that feast day. This carb cycling approach keeps your metabolism flexible. It prevents plateaus and stalls, and it actually feels pretty good to carb up for a day. We've covered strategic eating. Now, let's talk about the third thing I did. I started to move intentionally. And no, I didn't sign up for a gym membership and work out 60 minutes a day. As a matter of fact, I didn't spend any hours at the gym, any hours on a treadmill or hours outside running and jogging. None of that actually works for sustainable fat loss.
So, no intense cardio or heavy lifting every day? What kind of movement are we talking about?
I simply just started walking every day. And to this day, I walk every day. I personally aim to get around 10,000 to 14,000 steps a day. The key is that you want to go for a 30-minute walk after your biggest meal of the day, which is typically dinner.
Walking after dinner for fat loss. That's interesting.
You get the most fat loss benefits there. Walking lowers postprandial glucose, that's the blood sugar, spike after eating. Walking helps you burn fat, and it prevents you from getting cravings, unlike an hour at the gym. Now, if you add in some sprinting or some resistance training just a couple of times a week, along with those 10,000 to 14,000 steps a day, your body will actively be in a fat-burning state. Body fat percentage will drop day by day. You'll start to melt fat, have energy, and feel incredible. Which brings me to the fourth thing I started to do. I started to do strategic sprints twice a week. I do this, and this keeps me lean, energized, and resilient year-round. And I want you to adopt the same principle. I simply sprint all-out effort for 20 seconds.
20 seconds of all-out effort? Like a lion is chasing you?
Exactly, like you're running for your life. You could do cycling on a bicycle or swimming. Just make sure it's an all-out 20-second effort. Then you lay down on the ground on your back for 90 seconds.
So sprint for 20, recover for 90. That's one round.
You're activating your sympathetic nervous system while you sprint, then you lay down and go into a parasympathetic rest. Do 3 rounds of that in one workout just twice a week. That will cause your belly fat to melt off. That will actually help you produce nitric oxide, which lowers blood pressure, lowers blood sugar, and lowers your risk of cardiovascular disease. All good things. You torch fat and improve your health outcome at the same time. It also boosts hormone health, like growth hormone and testosterone, and improves cardiovascular health. The fifth thing I did was I started to track the right metrics. Unfortunately, people are only tracking the number on the scale. But I have news for you, the scale is a damn liar. I stopped obsessing over the scale. Those numbers can lie.
So, if not the scale, what should we be tracking for real fat loss?
I started focusing on the following metrics. My body fat percentage. There are different ways to track this. You can use calipers, someone needs to do this for you, or bioimpedance machines. I use an in-body scan, which is about 90 to 95% accurate for trends. You stand on it, grab handles, and in a minute or two, it gives you a body fat percentage and tells you how much lean mass you have. The most accurate way is a DEXA scan, done every 30 to 90 days at a facility.
So, more accurate body composition, not just weight. What about non-scale victories?
I also paid attention to how my clothes fit. I paid attention to my energy levels. My afternoon energy crashes started to go away. My skin complexion, digestion, and sleep. These are all what I call non-scale victories, and they're way more important than the number on the scale. You're not really looking to lose weight, you're looking to lose body fat. There's a big difference.
That's a crucial distinction, like Ozempic, where you lose weight, but a percentage of that is muscle loss.
Exactly. With Ozempic, about 38% to 50% of the weight lost is muscle loss. You don't want to lose muscle, you want to lose body fat. So the scale can be deceptive, especially as you're building lean muscle mass with this protocol. Muscle weighs more than fat. So you might drop 3% body fat in, say, 30 or 60 days, which is awesome, but the scale might stay the same. If you're not paying attention to these metrics, you might think it's not working. Pay attention to these non-scale victories. I recommend only standing on the scale every 30 to 60 days, not every day or every week. It'll drive you crazy. We've covered tracking, and now for the sixth thing I did, I started to celebrate small wins. I'm a big believer that small tweaks lead to giant peaks. In other words, I talk about this in my latest book, Metabolic Freedom, one tweak a week. I didn't overhaul everything all at once. I wouldn't recommend that for you either. I started with small, doable changes.
So incremental changes, not trying to do everything at once and getting overwhelmed.
For example, I swapped seed oils, vegetable oils, for healthier fats. This is a simple thing you can do right away to lower inflammation and burn fat. So I removed canola, corn, cottonseed, sunflower, soybean, safflower, rice bran, and grapeseed oils. I swapped those out for avocado oil, olive oil, butter, ghee, beef tallow, and coconut oil. That simple swap helped a lot.
And then you built on that momentum?
Yes, once I mastered that, I said, okay, now I'm gonna walk 30 minutes after my biggest meal of the day. And I started doing that. Then I said, okay, I'm only going to have protein and fat for breakfast, no more carbs. You can see how you just gain momentum and get more confidence. Make that tweak a week, and you build serious momentum for sustainable results. Now, I'll give you some bonus hacks and tips that have helped me over the years. I stay hydrated with high-quality spring water and minerals. I think we're so mineral deficient, which causes a lack of energy and messes up your metabolism. High-quality minerals with water every single day.
And I know you're a big proponent of fasting.
I started to incorporate fasting. A 24-hour fast once a week is a great strategy to stay lean and energized throughout the year. And I took vitamin G every single day.
Vitamin G? Is that a new supplement? I haven't heard of that one.
This is something you can do right away. Vitamin G is anti-inflammatory, helps with the cortisol belly, which is belly fat, helps with your mood, with blood sugar, according to UC Davis, and blood pressure. It also helps to extend your lifespan, according to a study from Harvard published in JAMA.
That sounds like an amazing vitamin. Where do I get it?
I don't have a link for it. I don't have a coupon code for it because vitamin G is vitamin gratitude. All those benefits are when you feel gratitude. So every morning I write down and I think about what I'm grateful for. And I recommend you do the same thing. And then the last thing that I did here before I give you the biggest lesson is I started to really track my sleep. I realized that when I'm getting enough deep and REM sleep, I feel like a rock star the next day. And it's so much easier to just melt body fat. I found that if I'm not getting quality sleep, deep and REM sleep, I could be doing all these other things and the fat loss is just so slow.
So sleep is the foundation, even more than diet and exercise?
I started to track my sleep with an Oura ring, and I'll drop a link for an Oura ring below. You could also use an Apple Watch, Fitbit band, Whoop band, whatever metric you want to track. But when I started getting 90 minutes of deep and 90 minutes of REM sleep every night, oh my gosh, it was so easy to burn fat and drop my body fat percentage. It'll be easy for you too.
What were your top hacks for improving deep and REM sleep?
I started to avoid food at least 3 hours before bed. That bumped up my deep and REM sleep. I turned the thermostat in my bedroom to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. That bumped up my deep sleep. I started to wear mouth tape, which helped me breathe through my nose. That bumped up my deep and REM sleep. I wore a sleep mask and earplugs. If you're tracking your sleep, get 90 minutes of deep and REM sleep every night, and you'll be in a fat-burning state 24/7. All right, for our final segment. Look, here's the biggest lesson. Going from 34% body fat at my highest to 6% body fat at my lowest and maintaining 14% in my 40s year-round wasn't about punishment. It wasn't about willpower. It wasn't about obsessing over calories and macros. I wasn't starving myself.
So it was about removing interference and alignment.
It was about removing the interference. It was about alignment. It was about fueling my body with real food, moving daily, feeling gratitude, and getting deep restorative sleep. I believe if I can do it, you can do it. Don't get caught up in quick fads and dietary trends. Focus on the principles that last a lifetime.
That's such an empowering message, Dr. Stone. It truly simplifies what often feels overwhelmingly complicated.
And on that note, I'm going to be outlining even more of a deeper protocol. As I mentioned, I apply this for myself, but I've also taken 10,000 plus people through this protocol, and I've learned a lot. So I'm putting together this free live masterclass where I'll teach you even deeper on the exact steps here to get long-lasting results.
A free masterclass? That's incredible value.
This works better than Ozempic, better than dieting. And on this masterclass, which is live on Zoom, I'll be answering your actual questions live on the call. So go to meltyourfat.com to reserve your free spot, or if you're watching on YouTube, grab your phone and scan the QR code or click the first link in the description box below to reserve your spot. I can't wait to see you there. Now, let's get to some common questions. First, how do you keep carbs under 50 grams without feeling deprived?
That's a great question, Dr. Stone.
When you increase those healthy fats and increase high-quality protein, you're going to feel satiated. You're going to rewire your palate. And how do you know if you're going over that carbohydrate threshold? You would have to use a free tracker. I use Chronometer. If you go to chronometer.com/ketoamp, you could download it for free. You simply just input what you eat, and it tells you exactly how many carbs you're having per day.
Excellent resource. Next, do you still walk 10,000 steps even on days you do sprints or gym workouts?
I do. That's a standard for me every single day. When I travel, it's a bit harder, so I'm walking around the airport, the hotel lobby, outside the hotel, but I do aim to get that every single day. What were the first changes you noticed when you started eating more fat? I noticed that I didn't feel sluggish after meals, I didn't get the afternoon energy crash, and I had more stable energy levels throughout the entire day. Less reliance on caffeine and stimulants.
And finally, is there a best time of day to do sprints for fat burning?
There is. I'll tell you the worst time. You don't want to do sprints at night. You don't want to exercise at night because you don't want to activate your sympathetic nervous system right before bed. Not a good idea. The best time is the morning, especially if you do it on an empty stomach. Now, I understand for some people that might be very difficult in the beginning, but as you get more metabolically flexible, doing those sprints on an empty stomach in the morning will probably 2 to 3 times your results here. That's what I would recommend.
Incredible insights, Dr. Stone. This lesson was truly valuable.
Please share it with somebody you know. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on my Fat Loss Masterclass over at meltyourfat.com. And if you love this lesson, I want you to watch a previous lesson I just published that's going viral on the #1 cause of obesity and weight gain. And it's not sugar, it's not carbs, it's something else. Here's a clip. I'll see you in that lesson.